Oh, let me center that. My bad. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Yo, let me know if you can hear me. Chillcast, what up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What's going on? What's going on? Blue Lotus, what's happening? What's going on, Blue Lotus? Yannick, what's happening? Hey, what's going on? What you been working on down there? Manifesting bliss, skills. What up? What up? Just thinking, looking at David. Oh yeah. Rich, wealthy. What's going on? What's up? What's up? What's up? Peace to the chat. Everybody, thumbs up real fast. Everybody. Hold on, y'all. 1 second. Oh man, you didn't move to Costa Rica. Congratulations. That's what's up. Mike P, what up? Man, Costa Rica? That's what's going on. What you doing down there? Eating up all the sunlight. What's going on down there, south of the equator? That's amazing, man. I know that's beautiful. It went to the tropics. Right. Mike P, what the new pieces at, man? Reincarnation. Peaceful, yeah, man. Peace, man. Peace is the name of the game for sure. Oh, okay. You got a drum machine. All right. That's what we doing. That's what it is. I don't know if that background noise is too much for y'all. What's up? What's up, Tanisha? All right. All right. So I'm gonna make this real quick. I'm gonna try to make it quick, right? Um, my microphone is around here, so if y'all see me leaning down, it's because this mic is right here. Um, let me see. Hold on. Okay. Well, let me show y'all my favorite joint. I call this I call this a mango rose. Well, I'm sorry. This is mango strawberry. It remind me if you ever on the East Philadelphia, they got this thing called water ice. You know what I mean? And it look like this when you get mango and cherry. You know what I mean? Mixed together, like it looks like this. Like this is my favorite fave, man. I gotta keep those on deck. And then I got some that start opening up like a star, like this. like start to open up like a star pattern and whatnot. So I don't know. I got this is like in a little. I made my own little red and white arrangements and whatnot, man. So into my flower key with my plant keys is how I be in Costa Rica, like manifesting bliss. You know what I mean? But man, congratulations, man. Once again, congratulations for real, for real. All right. So real fast, man, I was really thinking to myself, like, what if reincarnation was real? And if we really believed it, would we do better? Right. And so, what I mean by that second part is if we really believed it, would we do better? Is not only what if reincarnation was real, but what if relationships from the past or current relationships now are relationships from a past life? And so, if we really believe reincarnation is real and we get to a point of discovering that, wait a minute, my such and such, my brother was my enemy, or my lover was my enemy, or my lover was my, whatever they was. And all the soul really wants to know is to get you to a point of realizing it's not what the soul wants to know, because the soul knows, the soul has the memory. And so the conscious experience is really for us to remember. Hence, remember Islam, we had these beads that we call zikr beads. In the Christian theology, they're known as the rosary. And then in the Buddhists and the Hindus, the mala beads. All the same concept, right? It's to get you to constantly be in tune and remember, right? Remember. And so, what if the dramas that are playing out are really for us to understand that there is a deeper level of karmic interplay that is taking place that stems from a previous incarnation? And so, again, I'll give you the reference point, which is going to be by far, in my opinion, the best reference point will be the works of Dr. Brian Weiss, Through Time into Healing, Past Life Memories, or Miracles Do Happen. That particular book, you can go to YouTube and see him and his daughter had a quick interview with Oprah. Um, what if this phenomenon is really real? Really real. And if it is real, I even think it's something on Netflix finally that had something with, remember the World War II pilot, little boy, James Lingerner or something like that? He was a World War II pilot. They finally did an interview with him as a grown man, and how he's doing, and these other stories that was taking place. There's some series on Netflix that deal with something. I forget the name of it. But that was in there. And I mean, heck, even another little boy, crazy little white kid, was telling his mom, yeah, my mommy with the pretty hair used to take me to the park, and mommy, I was killed by the babysitter, something like that, and said his name. And mom went to go Google and found the little boy's name who was actually killed by, I think, the babysitter. And that happened in New York. And I think that now kid and mom live like in Oklahoma somewhere. Crazy. It's on this series on Netflix. I should have thought about it before before I did the show, so I can give you the direct, source. But this is documented stuff. You know what I'm saying? Right. That was the World War II pilot. Exactly. James Lingener. And his mama named him James, the same name that he was, in a previous incarnation. So you got to even take that in consideration, because now When I see that, I'll be like, yo, wow. They thought they had an original idea. We're gonna name our baby James. And the question becomes, when you're thinking of the name and it pops up, where did it come from in order for it to all of a sudden arrive? Because you just didn't have it a minute ago. You didn't have it a second ago, but you thought about it and then it popped up. So is there a sender of the thought? That becomes a question. You see what I'm saying? And so if these things are real, and there's a quick little glimpse of it even in the New Testament with Jesus asked his disciples, so who do you say that I am? And some say you Elijah. And then Jesus was like, man, listen, man, you know, for Elijah, I forget what he said. I'm paraphrasing, but he said something like, Elijah has came already, but the world knew him not. And he was like, and then they understood he was talking about John the Baptist. Like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like you say I'm him, and then you tell us that he was already here, and they understood that he was talking about John the Baptist. Like, you know what I mean? So reincarnation is a possible, it's possible. So now let's say accept it in the sense that, all right, let's just explore it mentally. Let's just explore this. It's real. These events through relationships are real, right? These dramas, things of that nature. I would think that we would have to be way, when I say way, I mean way more cautious about getting into relationships, how we choose to entangle ourselves. And if you're new to this kind of information, when I say entangle, I ain't talking about just strictly the Jada Pickett I had sex with homeboy type of entanglement. That is a scientific phenomenon that means your life will start to literally become some type of mirror of another person's who you entangle with their life. Okay, we give examples of this all the time, whereas me and Jew could be, he got a Timberland boot and he step on a nail, show me a picture of the nail. I'm putting on my boot and see something sticking out, and it's a nail, and mine's is a Timberland boot. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that continuously. And so you can become entangled with someone, and now what you're doing in your life is affecting other people, and what they're doing is affecting you, unbeknownst to us as the sender and or receiver. And so this was actually talked about because I said, Jew, who in the Bible is affecting people, their energy is affecting people unbeknownst to them. They're having an effect on people in a negative way, unbeknownst to that person. And he was, oh, that's in Jonah. So I go look it up. Jonah was given the mission. Hey, bro, you're gonna have to go to the city and tell them that God said, cut it out. Right? I'm sick of it. Jonah, like, nah, I ain't doing that. This dude get on the boat, go to the bottom of the boat, and try to sail to a whole nother city, running from the mission. And so the story goes, they hit some turbulent waters, and the captain of the boat come down there, like, yo, what you doing, bro? We about to die in this ocean. I need you to pray. What up, Lance? I need you to pray to the God that you believe in, because we about to die on this boat. So they all praying. And so then the scripture says the men is like, man, let's cast lots and see what's going on about this. Now, some interpretation said the men rolled dice. Straight up. The men rolled dice to see who on the boat was responsible for bringing this negative energy on. And the dice pointed at Jonah. And they're like, yo, What's up with you? What's the God you believe in? What's going on? And Jonah, like, listen, man, just go ahead and throw me off the boat so y'all can live. And they like, nah, man, we can't do that. He's like, trust me, just throw me off the boat so I can live. And then they like, hey, God, listen, man, we don't really want to do this. We ain't doing this with an ill intention. Please forgive us. Threw this nigga off the boat, right? So then later, of course, he gets swallowed up in the belly of the whale, and then whatever. I get into Jonah on another level of what he really Jonah really represents judgment and no compassion, because he was upset with God that because Jonah ended up going to preach, and then God changed his mind about destroying the city, and Jonah was like, "Man, you always do that. That's why I ain't even want to go there in the first place, because you always changing your mind." And God's like, "Hey, man, don't you think that the people is worthy enough for that? You know what I mean?" So Jonah represent a state of judgment with no compassion. Okay, just to give you some insight into that. See, that this is why, again, I really got to applaud Minister Jew, who's just called me too. Um, but this kind of revelation can give us some understanding, because there is a serious disconnect which creates dissonance um, between our understanding with self, our understanding with God, without and using the Bible as the base without understanding the symbology of it. You know what I'm saying? The symbolism of it. So we create a disconnect. Okay. So anyway, Jonah's presence alone was affecting the fishermen on the boat, or the guys on the boat, unbeknownst to Jonah. So now this is the beauty about this thing, right? If I say something like, ladies and gentlemen, at the core, if we really look at it, there are only three things that a relationship will do. Just three. Out of all things that you think a relationship could do, it boils down to three things. Then to me, once we now get to quantify it, we now have to just zoom in on the channel that we want. And if it ain't about that, then it can't be about nothing. And so the relationship is either going to go up because we're going in the same direction with each other. So if I'm on level 10, you're on level 10, together we multiply, we become level 20, right? But if I'm on level 10 and you on minus 10, then we bring each other in the opposite direction. You going this way, I'm going this way. We bring each other to the opposite direction to a zero, and we balance each other out and we neutralize. And I don't like zeros, because zero is nothing, right? It's just neutral. It tells me it's too much back and forth, back and forth. And it's that famous saying, two steps forward, two steps back, in a sense. You went nowhere but to your starting point, right? Or we just gonna go in a total negative direction when we come together. So energy can only do three things. That's it, right? And so now, this is why I wish that this is what I wish someone would have told me before you get on this journey of consciousness, because this is serious. The more you go through this process, whether you want to call it ascension or whatever, the lonelier potentially this can become. Because when you know better, you would do better. And it's sort of like, if you notice, if you study the mystics, the saints, the Mother Teresa's in them of the world, the Saint Charbels in them of the world, even when you come into Black power of the Nation of Islam, in a sense, one of the first things you do on the journey is you switch what you eat. That's like one of the first things that go is pork. It used to be pork, right? Pork goes. Even a non-conscious person who ain't on no science of the universe and chakras and none of that got a basic understanding that I don't eat pork, right? Some people still there. That's cool. but the meat usually is pork. Then you'll cut out red meat, and then so you'll be on chicken, turkey, and fish. And then you go to pescatarian and you get rid of chicken and turkey and you'll be on fish. And then you go from fish to vegetarian, which it'd be straight vegetables and fruits, but some of the things that you eat may have animal product in it, which kind of defeats the purpose of being a vegetarian to me. So then they created a new class called becoming a vegan, which has no animal anything in it, right? And so there's layers to it. And when you start to look at those who have provided some of the most mysterious, some of the most mysterious healings, some of the most phenomenal things that can take place of the human being, they absolutely positively gave up eating meat. For the most part, I've never seen someone that was really providing miracles and things of that nature and didn't have a change in diet, right? And so now you start to get yourself in a whole nother class, right? Right. And so I always got to think of Maya, where it's like, would you date somebody that eat meat? Like, yeah, I date a person, but they would have to change though. You know what I mean? Because it's that serious to her. It's that serious to your well-being and your own moral belief. And 100% that's subjective to which you think it is what's healthy for you. Because don't get it twisted. I have not yet seen where vegans outlive, meat eaters. I haven't seen that, right? But it doesn't mean that the quality and clarity of consciousness of the light that resides within isn't on a different or oscillating at a different wave versus the person who may eat meat in a sense, right? But that's neither here or there, right? And so as you start to go through the journey or down the rabbit hole, as they call it, or the path of ascension, it starts to become lonely because now you can't even have conversation with people. You imagine that? You know how many people I hear, like, you can't have, y'all know, you can't have a conversation with someone, right? So now you start to seclude yourself. Very interesting, because again, now when you really start to look into the past of one of the most phenomenal, it ain't the most, and this is a heavy statement that I'm about to say, and I'm gonna stand by it. I really believe that the ultimate form of enlightenment on planet Earth is what those Tibetan Buddhist boys got known as the rainbow body, because their body shrinks at the time of their death. In some cases, it's just maybe bones left over, right? But their body can disappear and start to disintegrate, and then a rainbow light will come through the house or over the area. And this is known as the rainbow body, right? That's right. Right. And so that's that's a whole nother level of mastery. You're dead and your body starts to shrink, right? And disappear and turn into light. Now, there's something that's also known as the incorruptible bodies in the Catholic school of thought, where like you go look up Saint Charbel. Dude died, and 40, 60 years later, his body's in still mint condition, and his body is sweating, and his body has moving blood in it. And oils is coming off this dude, and he's 60 years dead. You have to explain this, right? But again, where I was going with the rainbow body and those kind of saints that do that kind of miracle working to really exhibit the power of God that is within everyone, right? Some of us are going to do phenomenal things in the marketplace because that's your cycle. That's where you're at. You're going to be great. You're going to be like, Magic Johnson and own a lot of things and have economic empowerment will be your thing. Some may be like, Russell Simmons, where it went from an economic musical standpoint that transitioned into a spiritual thing of yoga and things of that nature, right? So it's a journey, it's a process. But again, in staying in context of the conversation, if we really believe, when I look at it, right, like it's no secret, I put things down for a couple years so I can focus on real estate, right? I'm glad I did, because the way I learn in a very fixated way, right? Then I can't focus on pretty much two things at the same time. When something's new to me and really has my interest, I get super excited and fixated on something until I master it and get the flow, and then I can start doing something else, right? But my point in saying that is to be able to well, let me back up a little bit. To put that spirituality to the side and get the money and things of that nature, right? And then be able to come back and pick up where I'm at and then start to evolve the soul is very, very, very important. And I'll just say it like this, cut through the chase. You don't want to die ignorant. What's up, Aaron? What's happening? You do not want to die ignorant. That's right. So rich wealthy is like you can forget having a wife. And that was where I was going with it. Because see, the sharp bells in them other world, when you start to do the phenomenal thing of tapping into the mysterious force of the creator, I need to pull this book out because they said something that was so dope that dealt with miracles. I'm a paraphrase. And it was basically saying that the miracles is for the glory of God. And when it comes to a human being, that human being is to share that with the people, right? But you got to point all glory back to the creator. So in Islam, it's like somebody say thank you. You'd be like, all praises is due to Allah, brother. I'm just a vessel, not me. All praises due to the Most High, right? And so, anyway, when you really start tapping into that particular gift, because I'm going to tell you something about the universe. The real universal order is the 12 zodiac signs. And when I say it's not rocket science, I'm really saying that in a sense. I mean it in this vein. I have a learning impediment. So if I can learn it, you can learn it. And when I say it's not rocket science, that means it's just 12 is basic, 12 things to remember, and not all these big old postulates and formulas and things of that nature. It's just real basic stuff when I say that. Okay. And so when you look at the 12 universal laws, right? Sports or the muscle or the physical could be number one. The money is number two. Tours, communications, and traveling around could be the third and the ninth. You know what I mean? Or even teaching to a degree. Just fourth is family and real estate. Five is the children and the arts, being creative and being on stage and putting plays together and stuff like that. The theater. Six is health. Seven is relationships. Eight is sex. Nine is philosophies and teaching. And 10 is career. Go back to six. Six is work, but 10 is career, what you want to be, successful in. And maybe even some of your accolades and your well-known comes from this energy right here. That's the Capricorn frequency, right? 11, it could be technology. You like Jeff Bezos and you got an Amazon or whatever, or Elon Musk, right? And there's social gatherings and friends type of stuff. But the 12th, the last one, the last one. The last one says it is all about spiritual illumination through meditation and imagination. It is mystical. It deals with the dreams. It deals with hospitals. So therefore, it's also healing, but it's a mystical type of healing. It's a different vibe here. This ain't got nothing to do with the physical. It's only inspired by music and poetry in a sense. but it's also the energy that deals with being in a hermitage. Seclusion is the 12th Pisces Neptune type of frequency. The hermitage. That's the last stop. The last stop is your enlightenment that deals with seclusion. Hence, when people are on this journey, it's like the tarot card, the hermit. They go off. What happens? They go off to a cave and meditate and pray on God for 40 days, and the angel Gabriel came and told woo, 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 right? There's this spiritual journey that you must go through on the path of self realization. Self realization. It's not necessarily what a person can tell you. A person can point you in a direction, but there's an experience that the soul must have for itself. Okay? All right? And again, when you just look at universal order, the last stop on the totem pole is that it deals with isolation, the aspect of seclusion, so you can get in tune with that infinite power that is within all. All right. So back to the subject. So now, if we truly understood, man, you would be scared to get in a relationship because now you're afraid to create karma. Yeah, I don't think we really understand that. Karma simply means action. I'm just not talking about the bad things, right? Solely the bad, man. But we can highlight that though, because see, this thing here is on the TikTok for real, meaning the law of rhythm, right? So if you go look at the Kabbalion and talk about these 7 universal laws, well, the law of rhythm is one of those things. And so therefore, like right now, we're pretty much in Mercury retrograde. It starts on the 9th, but we're in that zone where it's going to go down at. And it's going to take place in Libra. Then it's look like it's going to go back into Virgo, and then it's going to swing forward again and go back through Libra. So let's say the Virgo Libra frequency is where it starts at. Libra governs relationships and marriages, right? Mercury retrograde represent miscommunication or redo, right? Some type of issue, right? Or can also represent old relationships coming back together. The problem with the retrograde energy is it normally doesn't have the sticking power because it's just for a short little window. And it's this weird effect that takes place for some reason. And I call it, it's like a cosmic tunnel effect. Because all it is the planet Mercury. I say visualize the sun. So you see the sun, the planet Mercury is coming between the Earth and the sun. So if we have some cool glasses on, we can see Mercury, this little planet going in between our viewpoint from us to the sun. And since it's passing the Earth, because that's what's really happening, Mercury is aligning with the Earth. But since it travels, all motion creates energy. And so if it's energy, then energy usually transforms into what? A wave of energy. And so that wave of energy is no different than you can hear that breath, right? Or something passing you by. In the car, you remember the famous scene at the bus stop where the lady at the bus drop or something at the bus stop, and then the truck goes past and her dress goes up, or the hat gets knocked off. A wind tunnel effect. And that's what's happening. It's a cosmic wind tunnel effect that happens during this particular time. So things that do come together, for the most part, they can have some type of, it could be a little bit more of a struggle to keep them together, right? And so, you know, starting a new relationship right now, a brand new one, like may not be the most ideal thing, right? May not be, may want to kind of, hey, we're gonna be easy, and we just gonna have some fun for the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and this is nothing serious, you know what I mean? And just give each other a little bit of space here, because the likelihood of miscommunication happens. It just does. It always happens by the way of an event that takes place. And so, anyway, So now, as you start to become astute in this, you be like, "Oh snap, man! We coming together. We just we just created something on a vibrational plane. Yeah, we just gave birth, especially if we had sex. We just gave birth to an invisible entity. Is what we did. You know what I mean? On a vibrational plane. Now, the nature of that entity depends on the state of being of the two individuals, right? But now this can take form in an intelligence of its own. That's what we have to understand. You know what I mean? That can start to beget one thing. Like, again, I always use Scarface. He pointed out, like, man, every October, man, it seemed like when somebody died in my family, it's in October. Very interesting, because that space that we know as October has energy. It records, it keeps. And we do these things such as anniversaries and birthdays and things of that nature, holidays. We do those things, but that's technically just the earth and the sun is in the exact same space where it was when you had first the first event at. And so you're just coming back and reinforcing space. That's all you're doing. We're reinforcing space because the space holds energy, right? And so when you start to know these things, it's shit, man. You be cautious. You have to be cautious, because now, it's a lot of work to be done. We got to get in our own subconscious mind to be able to understand what the heck is going on. What the heck is going on in my to I want to say what quantum DNA, in a sense. You know what I mean? What's going on in there? What is my past life? What is my aptitude? What are the things that I've always shown interest in? You know what I'm saying? Where are my hurdles at? You know? Um and how to not only see it, but to obviously mend for that and get past that particular point. You know what I mean? Because if not, you be stuck on the wheel. And that's what they call karma, and that's what they call reincarnation. And you keep going through these experiences until you get the point. Now, I always say it's very dangerous in the West, because this is not a place that has spiritual conversation as a means of education. This is not the East. They get that in the East. This is the West. When you run in the West Coast offense, um it is very material dominated, and that's okay, because that's the aspect of, that's the bridge to the East. The East is spiritual. So the east of, if we looking at a regular map, India, Africa, Asia, all that over there, that's the ideal world. All your religions come from over there. That's the ideal world. That's the mental. When you on this side, this is the physical side. You see what I'm saying? And now we're just now getting integrated with yoga, chakras, astrology, aura. We just now getting integrated with these things. And that's okay. It's supposed to be. You know what I mean? That's the key, right? So anyway, man, if we really, really understood, it was said this way in The Science of Love by John Baines. The Hermetic simply means they studied Hermes, which is also we know as Tahuti or Thoth from the Egyptian standpoint, the god of wisdom. The Hermetic couple, the couple that studies together, they know that they don't even have a disagreement with. They cannot give birth to. They can't have an argument with each other, because that vibration in of itself, your mood is cellular energy. Stop. You're not fooling nobody. Like, because you ain't tearing up something. You have a cellular energy that's emanating out into the field. Okay. I'm gonna tell you something. If you bend down a certain way and bend up, you ever see these blinking little things? You can also see pure, what they would call prana. If you relax your eyes, it'll almost look like this little raindrops, little dew is just moving all through space. These things spy on you. They watch us because it's an intelligence. It communicates with the field. This is also how psychics are able to pick up on you. Okay. They don't know nothing about space time. They don't care about space time. They're here, and at the blink of an eye, they can morph there. Okay. And so it's no difference than technology building the bridge. Okay. Trust me, the information, the speed of thought travels very, 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 very fast. There's no such thing as time because the speed of thought travels that fast. You can't even clock it. Okay. And so, again, now you would have to be like extremely, extremely cautious, very cautious, because now even when you get to, having children, and now you bringing in children when you don't know, you didn't have no intention on bringing in a child, you didn't have an intention on the soul type that you want to bring in, right? And so now, remember, we're going to say that each person reincarnates because they have their own karma to undergo. We don't even know what this soul's karma is that is choosing us as parents. We don't even know. We're not even setting the intention to bring in this a harmonious being, because it may be like, listen, I'm saying I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do it too. The next video I do, I'm gonna have to go into Marvin Gaye's daddy shooting and killing them. That's what I mean. See, that's exactly what I mean by the subject matter. That right there, right? His daddy killed him. Okay. So that's not cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's not cool, man. That's not cool. So now let's just say you grew up all this time as a little kid, you ain't know that when you become a grown man, your daddy gonna smoke you. Your daddy is really your enemy, nigga. You don't know this. But I bet you that just don't get there from one instant. Like that's already something that's already some, a disgruntled thing is already happening. Some discord is already there. But the beautiful thing is now there's a way to be able to quantify it. Because when I do the video, I'm gonna start researching it today. I already know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna give y'all my hypothesis before I even look and show you. Mars and Saturn from the dad is going to be in a strenuous position of Marvin's sun or his Mars, or vice versa, because energy is interchangeable. So it could be Marvin's sun, Mars, and Saturn is in opposition or square to daddy's energy. Okay. And then when Mars in the sky got in a particular point, particular position in perfect alignment with Marvin's or the dad's, or maybe if you can imagine what I'm saying, one's here, the dad's here, Marvin's here, and my face is the midpoint, known as a square. Maybe Mars was at the midpoint in between the two perfectly, coming sideways at both, and then that triggers the incident. You understand what I'm saying? Guarantee you. That's my hypothesis, and I'm gonna do it. Okay. And so when you have that kind of stuff, that Marvin Gaye type of thing, man, like that should really show us right then and there. You got to call a time out. Because see, remember the process of spiritual evolution and fasting is what? Time out. Times. I gotta sit down. Hold on. Oh, hold up. You mean to tell me that we can actually quantify and be able to look at the time that I was born, look at a birth chart, and see what our relationship is likely to be at or be like, and the timeline when said event can likely happen? Oh, I need to learn that immediately. That's what gets me with this. Because if I see something like that, whether it be relationships can be quantified down to three things that's going to happen, or they can only be expressed four ways in the sense of energy, though. You're like, huh? What you mean? Wait, what? Oh, hold on. Stop what I'm doing. I need to know this now. Like, I need to know right now, right now, right now, right? I can't do anything else, right? Because I have to be to the best of my ability. I would like to be very conscientious of my experience while I'm here, right? So I don't want to walk out the door and, XYZ happened and I didn't know it was a rough Mars transit that's taking place. No, I keep my eye on that dude because I seen people get their brains blown out when he's in a certain position, literally. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a figurative speech right there. That's for real, for real. That happens. So when that dude is on a certain angle, I need to know where he is at every single moment. And I know his timeline. I don't gotta go look every day. I just need to know that, oh, you over here right now, you'll be here for about 60 days. Mars is in Gemini and it's gonna retrograde in Jimmy, and he ain't coming out of there until like March of 2023. Mars and Jimmy all the way until 2023. It's gonna be springtime, right? And so, whew, man, whoa, hey, that's not necessarily a hard spot for me. You know what I mean? But now that you know this, now you want to be careful, right? You got to be like, oh, okay, you know. So I think, man, if we knew better, if we really believe this, I'll be like, yo, sign me up now. I submit. What you talking about? I get to it later. I submit, but I understand that because you get to it when you get to it. You got bills, you got children, you got goals, perhaps. You know what I'm saying? I totally understand. Hey, no judgment. You know what I'm saying? But I just know when it comes to doing some things, man, you need to know for yourself. Like, before we proceed, you need to know. You have to know. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it, man. You know what I mean? All right, man. So I just a little bit of food for thought. All right, I'm gonna try to go back through the comments, man. But at the same time, what if there is a lesson to learn within the? Yeah, it is right, right. And that's a good question. Rich Wealthy. Rich Wealthy said, what if there is a lesson to learn in the miscommunication? It always is, right? But here's the only thing that I don't like about it though, about that though, is this. In the moment of a miscommunication, an argument, we're not really approaching it from the standpoint of, hey, I understood how um I understood how that makes you feel once you told me the depth of it. When you said that you were afraid, I thought that when you meant afraid, that it was like more like a figure of speech, right? And not necessarily like this is something that is really a fear trigger. So when I kept proceeding after you told me you had fear, like, we're not approaching it with accountability. We're not approaching it from the angle of, the last thing I ever want to do is argue with you because I'm not here to do that. You see what I'm saying? Once the miscommunication kick in, it's gloves off. It's time to go, and that's the part that becomes dangerous because nobody is seeking wisdom and nobody is seeking to maintain peace, irregardless to a miscommunication. If we strive, in my opinion, if we strive to hold the line of peace, by all means, is our number one priority, then miscommunication is nothing. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, baby, no, this is what I thought it was. You know what I'm saying? But when you don't have that at the forefront of your mind, and we're gonna be regular, you in trouble. And so I don't like the miscommunication when it's just regular. Now, if we're gonna approach it like divine intelligent beings, then yeah, okay, let's have it all day. You know what I'm saying? Because that's great. That's good. That's good for growth. You know what I mean? All right. Y'all, it's definitely a paradox, bro. David Vega, what up, man? What's happening? All right. Where we at? Where we at? I'm just checking the. Damn, skills. You said your pops almost killed you. Yeah, it's crazy, man. That's crazy. You know. And that could have been because you could have killed that, you could have killed him before. I'm about to say you could have killed that nigga, right? You could have, seriously. See, that's the thing with this. These things will play out over and over again. To stop the TikTok, meaning to stop the rhythm, you have to get off. You can't fight back. Pushing is some of the most tiresome thing. Why push when you can pull? But I don't even want to pull you in. I want to get off. I don't want this to happen. Listen, I'm gonna tell you how serious this is for me. And this is what I mean, right? Listen. So my son, one of my sons had passed a couple years ago, but he had a daughter, right? And remember I told you the story, right? I told my mom that I said, no, that's my son coming back. And that sounds crazy. How can your son come back to something that he already gave birth to, even though, or that he conceived? Because spirit and soul is not the same thing. You see what I'm saying? They're not the same. This is why, again, in Egypt, these were two separate things, Ba and Ka. Okay. What if soul was just more like a blueprint to house spirit, and then when you drew your first breath, that was the incarnation of spirit, but not soul, right? And so, anyway, lady reading the Bible, my mom worked in the hospital, and the lady tell her, "Hey, I've been looking for you. You got a grandson that was gone." Mom said, "No." "Yes, you do. He gonna be back as a little baby girl this summer." Mom walk out the room, come back. Lady say, "Hey, did that scare you?" Mom say, "No, my son told me the same thing." That story right there. I'm so serious in that because I figured it out. Homie made transition when he was about to turn 19. I'd like to turn your attention to Surah 75 in the Holy Quran that says the chapter is called uh um um what's the word they really trying to resurrection. Resurrection is really reincarnation. That's what got you. Ooh, they did a number on you when they used resurrection instead of reincarnation. Because if they're synonymous, are they the same thing? And again, if the one translator look at what this one word can mean several things, and somebody said, well, God saw that it was the third day and it was good versus God imagined it was the day, that's two totally different things. But imagining something is seeing something. And so, but you get a different feeling if it said God imagined this and it was all good and now today is the third day, right? And so if it just said God saw, it looked like God just looked on it. But it don't tell you nothing about God thinking if it said God imagined. You see what I'm saying? And so when they use resurrection instead of reincarnation, totally did a number on us. So Surah 75, which is chapter 75 in the Holy Quran, talks about reincarnation. That's what the whole subject matter is about, resurrection, to rise again, and eclipses. When the sun and moon align. Now, what the hell that got to do with reincarnation and eclipse? Because it's known as a metonic cycle, metonic, metonic cycle. The sun and moon eclipse patterns happens to the day every 19 years. This is why when you go to places like Newark, Ohio, known as the Newark Earthworks, you will see that they were studying the 18.6-year cycle of the moon. This is why Mother Tainetta Muhammad had an article in the Final Call called Unveiling the Number 19. This is why the Holy Quran says over it is 19. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's talking about a cycle of the moon. Notice in Islam, they use the moon as their logo, right? That's the Christians got the cross. Well, in Islam, there's a moon and a star. Okay. So now you're dealing with astronomical bodies. Well, my son was about to turn 19, going through his first Metonic cycle. Then I said, oh, yeah, I see what this is. Right. And was able to put it together. And so now that, like, you can't say that. What's your grandchild? That's not my grandchild. I don't classify that as a grandchild. That's my son. Remember, and I can only share my experiences with you, man. And that's all I can do. I can just share my experience with you. It's gonna may sound crazy, it may sound mystical, whatever the case may be, but it's the truth. And within that truth, my son told his baby mama, his girlfriend, mother to be of their first child, that he was going to die and come back and find her. And here's the kicker: remember everything. That's what my son said. 18 years old, talking about dying and coming back as a child and finding her and will remember it all. Is what my son said. And that's the son I was like, that's my Buddha baby, because his mom is from Thailand. I'm black or whatever I am, right? So that's the one that I said was they all special, but that's the one that got it, he'd be the one to do something like that. And so to say something like that, who am I to be upset that he passed? And who am I to have wished that he wouldn't have did the things that he done? Man, he gotta deal with his own soul evolution. Who am I to be so upset? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. This whole place, you have to learn how to relinquish control and let it go, because that stops the rhythm of karma. So now my point is, I know, I believe this stuff. I do this. I live by these tenets, man. So for me, there ain't no me going to pick up the baby and FaceTime. I don't want no parts of it at this stage. One, I don't want to taint the experience. He said he's going to remember. But another part is, I don't want the karma. I don't want it. Because see, what happens when you taint the experience of someone else and now they attach to you. You want me to go get my dad? Because I pointed out in the book Spiritual Wisdom for the 21st Century. It's on Amazon. I pointed it out. My dad will tell you the license plates number from 1982 that my mama was driving her side dude's car that was coming over to the house when he was at work. that's it's not nice, right? Because people get killed like that, but my dad still remembers that license plate number. It's etched in his brain for life, right? I swear I should just call him and have him spit it out real fast. That's a negative memory. Memories become your prison if you ain't careful. Memories become all trauma is after the fact of the event is a replay mentally, and then there's muscle memory. Okay. And so um you gotta be careful. Now watch this. My daddy was born with the moon in Scorpio, but my mama was born on the last day of Scorpio, and later that day the sun ingressed into Sagittarius, right? So she's a cusp baby. So meaning when she was born, it's 29 degrees Scorpio. And then let's just say in 3 hours, it now will be technically 0 Sagittarius. But in the newspaper, it's going to tell you November 22nd is Sagittarius, right? That's what it's going to tell you. It depends what time. Okay. And so now he got a negative imprint, and you can Google this stuff. The kidneys are ruled by Libra. Google it. Libra rules the kidneys. The scales, the kidneys. Homeboy got kidney issues, right? Got kidney issues. If I ain't mistaken, it's the left side too, which is the feminine side. So now his thoughts is stuck in the loop of stress. His body is stuck in the loop of stress. The adrenal sits on top of the kidneys, and now it's flooded the kidney and destroyed the kidney, right? So then what happens? Then my mama had a kidney issue. They hundreds of miles apart. Ain't been together since the 80s. Maybe I think they hooked up one time in the early 2000s. But now she had a kidney issue. Why? Because there's an entanglement that's taking place. The best classic example I can give you of this: 9/11, 2001, 9/11, 2015. We know what happened on 9/11, right? Planes hit the towers down. People go every year and cry. In a couple days, they're going to be crying, ejecting a negative emotion into the ether. The world said, hey, the Muslims from Saudi Arabia did it. That's who did it. So now your association with Eastern, especially for white America, white America, trust me when I tell you, white America pissed off at some Muslims, right? Boy, when I was training to be a truck driver, boy, when he see, it could be a Pakistani or he can be an Indian. If he got a turban on, boy, he would just stop and look at him on one of them. The white American, oh buddy, oh they mad at the Middle Eastern buddies. I'm telling you, right? But on 9/11, 2015, don't you know a crane fell on the masjid in Mecca, killing 111 people? And when you look into the record, they'll tell you that the deadliest crane crash where a crane fell and killed people was in New York City back in 2008. But New York City is the place where the towers fell. It's the place where people go at a memorial and cry. It's the place where you inject a negative emotion and they shoot these light beams up into the sky to represent the Twin Towers, which is dangerous. It's a cool thing to do, but it's dangerous because the emotion associated with the day is dangerous. And so now you're broadcasting light and a negative emotion inside of it going out into the ether. And when that happened, it gets dispersed all throughout the earth. So now it took 14 years for this thought form to crystallize. Hear me out. Now, you can look at this like the planet Saturn was at, let's just say on the wall clock at 6 o'clock on the day 9/11 happened. And then on 9/11, 14 years later, which is 9/11, 2015, Saturn now will be at the 12 o'clock vicinity. So Saturn, for the very first time, for Saturn to get back in the same straight line of space where it was, sort of like Saturn gets to look itself in the mirror for the first time after 9/11. And this is a planet that represents materialization, the crystallization of thought forms. All of a sudden, when Saturn is there on the very same day, a wind, spirit, a wind. Do not the scriptures say, then God breathed into man and he became a living spirit? That's what it says, right? When you stop breathing, you dead, right? The spirit knocked over a crane and the crane falls down on the mosque where people pray, the Muslims, killing 111, not 110, not 112, 111 people on 111, right? I'm sorry, 111 people on 9/11. And then the deadliest accident before that was in New York. Like, stop playing. That's how you got to be able to see what the story is really showing you. See, if God has a mind, then you have to be able to tell the signs. Ooh, there's a scripture that says something like, the signs or the commands are up in the heavens and the signs are below on the earth. Then that means if that's the case, physical events correspond to commands up in heaven. See, that's the beauty of the particular science. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, when you understand that, you don't want no parts of that kind of karma, things falling and daddy killing the son and all that kind of stuff. You want to almost withdraw, because again, the 12th step of all this all represents seclusion and spirituality anyway. You see what I'm saying? This ain't got nothing to do with relationships, homie. This ain't got nothing to do with money. Ain't none of that. It's that monastery lifestyle in a sense. Ain't got nothing to do with none of that. Because I got to take care of this soul. Because if not, man, if you think you went through some trauma and you ain't got what the lesson is, thoroughly understand what the lesson is, don't be holding no anger and some repressed stuff. Oh, no. It's like a guaranteed subscription to come on back and figure it all out again. And the only way you're gonna figure it out again is to go through the trauma again. That's scary, man. I don't want no parts of that. Like, see, that's what I'm saying. Once you come into this, if reincarnation was real, we would do better if you believed it. If not, keep doing what you do. Keep on doing what you do. All right. All right. All right. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with y'all, man. Quick little food for thought. It's 3:00. I'm gonna run and go pick up this rent from this Confederate. I swear this dude that he just reminds me of a Confederate, man. But I gotta be easy on him, man, because he gets disability. But he a biker. He the kind of wear the boots and the leather vest and got the chain from the jacket to the, you know what I mean, one of those. And he just feels so racist. His energy is just so crazy. You know what I mean? And I gotta check my ego because maybe I take pleasure in being his landlord. I'm your lord. Pay me. So I knock on the door. Who in? Landlord. Landlord. Yeah, the landlord. What's up, Ruben? What's going on? You know? So he remind me of a Vietnam dude too. Like I be watching my Mars shit because I be like, this dude had a gun. He'd kind of seem like he'd shoot first, and my tenant across the street. It's like, man, he was out on the patio, on the balcony, man, just yelling one night. So he's a little mentally thrown off. You know what I'm saying? But I also like to think that I'm doing an aspect of charity in a sense too, because it's about, I could have evicted him a long time ago, just terminate the contract, but it's really about me trying to help. And I only got 2 tenants now that kind of disturb me a little bit, but I do it for I do it because I know it's the right thing to do, and they paying, so it's cool. All right. So y'all good? Anything before I jet out? Let me check my messages real fast, man. I just wanted to see y'all, man, and say hello to you. We about to do something. I know a full moon is coming. You so silly. You a ass. you a straight up butthead. But yeah, we about to do something. I'm doing something called A Night with the Saints. And so we about to get into something this Saturday night. Right now it's inclusive to the membership. And our first saint is Saint Benedict the Moor. Yo, man, there's a saint that is the bomb. I ain't never heard of this dude. Saint Martin de Porres, Porres. Yo, look him up. His father was like Spanish, and his mom was like African or native down in South America. He's a patron saint over African Americans. And I ain't even know that the Catholics they got a black brotherhood like the Knights of Columbus, but it's an all black brotherhood within the Catholic fraternity known as the Knight of Saint Martin. To this black saint. This dude was on 2 locations, ain't never physically left where he was at, and people would see him in different places known as bilocation. Man, you want to talk about some crazy mystical abilities? Crazy, man. You got to read up on Saint Martin de Porres. In fact, there's a YouTube movie of him. One of them old movies, super old, looked like it was shot in the 70s, and the subtitles, because they speak Spanish, so they got it English, so you got to read through the whole thing unless you know Spanish and whatnot. Saint Martin de Porres, man, he the one, yo. For real. Like I thought Benedict was cold. Saint Martin de Porres is cold. Um, Saint Charbel is cold. Padre Pio is cold. You got, man, listen, you got some cold people that came up out of that thing right there. And so, anyway, once a month, what I'm doing is a night with the saints where we highlight the saint, light up the candles, get in tune with that energy, and do what just start tapping into that current, man, tapping into that current of the mystics, of the greats. You know what I mean? And hopefully transferring some of that energy and do a collective prayer on whoever may need that. You know what I'm saying? So let's build that resonance up. And I think my next video is going to be vibrational resonance of disease. You know what I mean? Because the theory is that, you know, Cookie ain't never got HIV from Magic because her vibration was always it just wasn't a vibrational match for her. And so, what if we can only receive something from somebody because we got a weak lymphatic system? There is no such thing as an immune system. That's not a system of the body. Now, they say, well, if your thyroid is correct, that's the endocrine system, and it's working along with you know, your boo-booing and peeing, okay? Well, that's your urinary system and your excretion system. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as an immune system, but really that's your lymphatic system. So what if we only get things based off of our lymphatic system being weak? And therefore, if it was up and charged up and I was in the right state and I did get something, my body would electrify it. And maybe I may feel a little something, but I'm not going to be quote unquote with the actual issue itself. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm on a different match. I'm healthy, or I have a healthy immune system, if we want to look at it that way. You know what I'm saying? And so, what if things only come to us based off of what we resonate with? And when I talk about resonate, I'm talking about, the famous thing where they say, if you know, if you got two piano keys and you hit this one, this key on this piano is in resonate with this one and they tune to the same frequency, that key will start vibrating and moving on a separate piano. I'm talking about that kind of resonance. Are we on the same wavelength? And when we are, for me to get anything, right, then that means that I'm on a low level. I'm on the same frequency as that disease that I have. You're right, especially if it's what we call the STD. I'm on that same frequency, right? So can we raise the vibration? And surely you can, right? So we need to see some detailed study in the sense of that. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's about at the end of the day, man. All right. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. All right, let me see. You input, can you see what you got, those crazy gifts in the middle? Oh yeah. You can see that. You definitely can see that. Your chart show you what's popping, man. It'll show you. Mystical abilities is 12th house, Neptune, moon combinations, fourth house for sure. And I dare say even the eighth house. More of a psychic ability. But I'm gonna tell you somebody who's a bad healer that don't get no reputation for it, no rep for it, and that's Leo, particularly late degree Leo. I've seen late degree Leos do some phenomenal stuff that ain't documented like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's gonna show you what the stuff is. You know what I mean? Yeah, layers and layers. All right. All right, man. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna make this power move real fast. I'm gonna armor up, and I'll see y'all later. All right, peace.